out of it. I would like to get outside. It's beautiful, right? So since we can't go outside right now, I'm sorry. Since we can't go outside right now, I'm going to pretend like we're in a classroom where we can't go outside right now, and I'm going to take you to my favorite place on the planet, if you'd like to go with me, just for the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take you to the continent of Africa. Anyone been to Africa? Where have you been? Kenya. Where have you been?
Egypt.
Egypt, lovely. We're going to go to Kenya, which is my favorite country ever. We're going to go to Kenya. It's in the east of the continent, right underneath the little rhino horn. Yeah? You know what I'm saying? And we're going to go to a place called Lake Bogoria. It is a giant salt lake in the northwest of the country, and it's usually pink because it's covered with 10,000 flamingos. And we're going to camp there. But we're not looking for flamingos. We're not looking for lion cubs. We're not looking for zebras. This is wrong. This is a camel spider. This is what I study in East Africa. I'm an entomologist. I am not a K through 12 teacher, though I teach about 20,000 K through 12 students each year as an entomologist. So this is what I study. This is an arachnid. It's related to spiders, but it doesn't have venom. It has what looks like giant lobster claws that come off the front of its face, and they literally chew their food to death. And they're basically the most beautiful and fascinating creatures on the planet. Now this one is quite a common species, but I'm on the hunt for something that's never been seen. And so I'm going to take us out at night. I'm quiet now. And at night, in Kenya, people don't go out at night in Kenya because of lions. Lions, thank you, lions. We don't go out at night in Kenya because of lions, but I do, and so you're coming with me. And we're going to light a gas lantern at an abandoned ranger station in the edge of the forest. And when we light that lantern, what's going to happen? Huh? Bugs. My animals eat bugs. So we're going to collect whatever we see. And hopefully, we'll see something that has never been seen before. So did that feel a little bit different from what we've done for the rest of the day? Just a little bit different. Did you see any words up there? Do you know what program I'm using? What am I using? PowerPoint? PowerPoint! I'm using PowerPoint, people. It's the death of education. We've all seen bad PowerPoints. And the lights for me. Oh, actually, wait. Are we okay like this? Yeah. Can we do this? Okay, awesome. Sometimes those lights are... All right, so here's the deal, guys. My name is Christy Reddick, and I am one of the Bug Chicks. I come from a slightly different background than the rest of the presenters. I have a BFA in theater for my undergraduate. I have a master's degree in entomology from Texas A&M here. And then I was hired as a digital media coordinator for TLAC. So I used to teach all of the in-service teachers or the pre-service teachers how to use media and visuals and music effectively in the classroom before they went into their student teaching and beyond. I moved to Oregon about 3 years ago and started this company, The Bug Chicks, full-time with another female entomologist. And basically, what we do is we create awesome content about bugs. But what we actually do is inspire lifelong learning using bugs as a tool. And we use media to do this, okay? So we're SciComm writers. We write for Science Friday each week. We make awesome videos where I wear a mustache and we do mating and courtship rituals as giant bugs. It's basically an awesome life. And so I'm coming at this from a slightly different perspective. I'm coming at this from an aesthetic and from how we can use visuals specifically for this talk in a way that will really enhance your teaching. How many of you here with the technology are maybe a little overwhelmed? Thank you for your honesty, okay? Maybe a little overwhelmed because I saw a lot of you this morning during the keynote when she was talking about all those cool apps. Like, those apps are super cool. But I saw a lot of you, you were all taking notes like good students, and you're like, so good, I'm not ever gonna use this on. I tell you, okay? I get it. You feel like there's so many cool things out there, and you kind of, like, part of you wants to do them all at once and just walk into your classroom and be like, la, and you want to be amazing at it. And you want to be that teacher that with the Promethean board and the smart board, it's like a ballet, it's like a dance, right? And it's moving with you and you're amazing. No, there's a lot of back-end work that gets to this. And when it's 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and you are thinking, oh, tomorrow is the solstice. What do? You go to PowerPoint, because it's how you show images and words. And you go to Google, because you don't know anything really about the solar system. Right? Am I right? This is what you do at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. Okay? So in this talk today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the philosophy behind using technology as your backup dancer. Beyonce is not going to walk out on stage and be like, hey you guys, I'm really sorry. My third backup dancer from the left has the flu, so we're just going to have to scrap this. You need to be able to teach when your technology doesn't work. And you need to be able to have it support you, because I still believe that the teacher is the guide in the classroom. It doesn't matter if you're doing like awesome activities and really moving around. It doesn't matter if you're more of a Socrates teacher, if you're up in the front on a stage. You are the guide. And this should not overpower you, and it should not overshadow you. You should use it. You should not lean on it like a crutch. How many of you are slightly concerned that in 10 years we won't need teachers anymore because there'll be holograms, right? It's not going to happen, because teachers are the passion and the soul in a classroom. And I want to help you use the technology that I know you're going to use to its best advantage, all right? So let's talk about the nightmare that is PowerPoint, okay? Now, we have all seen those PowerPoints, or keynotes, or whatever you're using, right? You've seen them. What do?
Put you to sleep.
They put you to sleep. They bore you. What else do they do? Maybe a paragraph.
Yes,
Some tiny words. How does that still happen? But we've all done it. We've all done it. We go, oh God, these horrible PowerPoints, and then we're like, oh God, I'll just get it all on the screen and read it. Okay. So let's pretend that it's 11 o'clock at night, the night before, and we made a PowerPoint slide about the solar system. And we went on to the first page of Google, and this is the first image we saw. And so we grabbed it. And we put it in, and it's rectangular. So here we go, and then we go the next day, and we go, the solar system has 8 planets that orbit around the sun. And Earth is the third one. And then you're like, right? What's wrong with this slide? How could it be better?
It's flat.
It's flat. Talk about that. What does that mean?
Not engaging.
It's not engaging.
The picture's not accurate.
The picture's not accurate. There's not. Well, why is the picture not accurate?
The orbits aren't straight.
The orbits don't do that. They don't do that. Okay? What else? Is it ugly too? The slide? It's super ugly. What can we do to make it a little less ugly? Huh?
The font.
The font? Do we need those words?
No.
I bet you know those.
So maybe let's take it away and let's change the picture. Picture a little bit. Okay, that picture's better, right? I mean, the sun looks like terrifying. Like Armageddon. It's like super scary. And these are a little better, but these are kind of small and hard to see. And that white, I think, is pretty ugly. Right? So maybe we could put it on black and try to make it a little more antique. Right? Okay? You guys, this is what happens. We are so sometimes rushed to get the content out that we make a lot of content that is pretty average, instead of taking a little bit of time to make one piece of content that will be like burned into a kid's brain. Here's what I mean. Why are we going to show one average picture when we can use a picture? And this is from the NASA website, okay? This is actually the closest color representation that the NASA scientists have for the atmospheric gases of Jupiter. Imagine this in a super dark classroom, right? That picture is a picture that every child's going to remember. They're going to close their eyes when they're doing their assessment or doing their quiz or talking about it to their parents at the end of the day, which is the real assessment, and they're going to describe this picture that their brains can't wrap around because it is so beautiful. This is NASA.gov. They have every picture and you're able to use them because you're a taxpayer and we pay them. So use them. Use an amazing image that's going to change a kid's way that they view the world, right? Does that make sense? I like a picture that fills a screen. Or if it doesn't fill a screen, I like a picture that's on a black background or that's on a white background, and then we use those two backgrounds in whatever presentation mode you're using. Because it's really going to set it and make it pop. Yeah? Okay. So, in this picture, there's like a million things you could talk about, right? You talk about this storm that has been swirling for 300 years, but probably longer. That's only as long as we've been looking at it, for 300 years. You could talk about the mixture of gases because this is air, not land. Now we're in a magical place, and we haven't done anything special. Nothing's flown in, there's no sparkles, nothing's burst into a million hearts and then disappeared. It's just an image, but it is supporting us on our learning journey somewhere awesome. All right? Now,
There's gonna be a lot of bug pictures, y'all. I'm so sorry.
we took this picture in Costa Rica. This looks kind of like a professional picture, right? We took it with like a point and shoot. And do you know what this white background is?
Paper.
It's a 99-cent flexible white cutting board that we plopped the insect on. We took the picture. So if this is our picture, what do we get to do with this because we've got all this white, beautiful space? Say you have a Promethean board or a smart board. What can you do with it?
Label the parts.
Label the parts. And don't just label head and feet. Label the parts. We're looking at a dorsal view. If we're looking at it this way, that's the interior view towards the head. So many times I go into classrooms and it seems like the elementary education teachers are teaching at a level that is much lower than what the kids can actually do. Do you ever feel that? Like sometimes they have that voice, you know what I'm talking about. But then also, there are 4-year-olds that we have met that can give me the genus and species name of a dinosaur. And they learned it on Dinosaur Train, which is a video series. If they can do that, they can do all sorts of things that we're not really capitalizing on. Raise the bar and they will meet it. I'm going to tell you my favorite story of a student at TLAC who shall remain nameless. And I kind of hope she's not a teacher right now, but I'm going to tell you about it. So I was teaching about using PowerPoint, creating effective images, and she came up to me afterwards, and I'm going to do my dumb girl voice, so please don't get offended. She came up afterwards, I'm going to take a picture of her while I do this. She came up afterwards and she was like, I was thinking about making like just a PowerPoint with like, just making the slides like different colors. And then I would just like click through them, and then the kids could like tell me what color it was. Because they're only 5. So it's like, it's just kindergarten. That's what she said. Great picture there. It's just kindergarten. That's what she said, right? Can you imagine? At 5 years old, what's happening to the brain? The most like, you just can't imagine. What's happening to the brain at 5 years old? Raise the bar, and the kids will meet it. And as you raise the bar, you will get more and more excited about what you're teaching. All right? I know that every 2nd grade classroom in Texas teaches about bugs. If you have any questions about bugs, email me. I'll send you resources. All right? And a lot of them are free. And they're super cool and they're super fun. So, yes, you can label. Now, what if you suck at using your Promethean board? interactive whiteboard that you can apparently erase on and apparently write on. Yes? And you tap it and it does things. Amazing, right? How many of you are awesome with your interactive board? Like a rock star. Are you a rock star with it?
I use it every day.
Awesome. That's the point. If you didn't use it every day, you would never get awesome at it. This is what happens with technology. We use it for a little while and it fails us and we fail it and then we're like, never use it again. Kids are often more awesome at it than we are.
Yeah.
So if you kind of stink at it, bring your kids up, let them label, help them with the spelling. That's okay. And as you use those muscles, as you practice more and more, you will get good at it. It's okay to stand up in front of your class and go, guys, everyone knows that Ms. Radek stinks at using the whiteboard. You want to help me? Great. I'll help you learn about insects, you help me learn to use the whiteboard. And now we're talking. Now we've got two groups of people in the class who are learning, and now you've got students who recognize that you are a human being and you are learning too, and it makes you super cool to them that they get to teach you something. Yeah? Embrace it. Embrace that you suck at it, and then you won't suck as much at all. Okay? Well, I'm using the word suck a lot in this videotape. Okay, so on that note, I go into tons of classrooms on this note of raising the bar. I go into tons of classrooms and of these bug dorky classrooms. These teachers call us and they're like, oh my god, we love bugs, we do everything for bugs, we do everything. Math, bugs, love it. We go in and the walls are plastered with cartoon bugs. And they're usually not anatomically correct, which makes me want to, right? And then I open up some of the books that they're reading, and the information is bad, okay? So why would you use this graphic, or even this graphic, which is a little better, when you could use this graphic? You can go, do you guys know about Creative Commons?
Creative what?
Creative Commons. Does anyone know what that means? Creative Commons, I'm gonna escape out of this and show you what it means. I know, cats, calm down. Okay, so Creative Commons is basically a licensing structure. And it's where people put up content onto the internet and they license it in certain ways. So there's attribution licenses where you can use it as long as you attribute to the artist. There's attribution no derivatives, which is don't mess with it and you can use it, like don't turn it into something else and you can use it, all sorts of different things. So if you Google Flickr Creative Commons and click on it, we go here to the attribution license. And there's 58 million photos. And as long as you attribute the artist, you can use them. We are now at a time where there is no excuse for you to use crap content because there's good stuff out there. Use one thing that's beautiful as opposed to 5 things that are mediocre. And you are going to feel more confident with the technology that you use to show it, because here's the deal. I don't care how many apps and bubbles and bits and bobs there are. Awesome technology does not equal awesome content. And awesome technology does not make you an awesome teacher. Yes? Technology is a tool, and I know you've heard this, but this is why I call technology my backup dancer. Because when the lights go out, when the electricity goes out, what kind of teacher are you? That's the test. When someone forgot to charge all the iPads, when someone tripped over the extension cord that charges all the iPads, and you don't know why they're not charged, because they're in the charger. Why? If you go the night before and you find a website that is so awesome, and you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to know about that, and you found it at home, and then you go to your network and you're like, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Oh, you need the administrator password for that because the district blocked it, right? What are you going to do when the technology either fails you or you have failed to do your legwork for the technology? That's the whole point of my philosophy about technology, all right? So, let's go here, let's play. Let's play. What do we want to, let's look for anything besides cats or bugs. Anything. Let's search. Anything. What is your passion? Go OMG, what just happened? Matthew. Technology. Did we burn a lamp? Oh, if we burn a lamp,
Just your backup.
that is so awesome. I don't even need it. Matthew, you're killing me. It's not even a deal. It's not even a deal. So, we're searching, and on Flickr, you can come up with all sorts of things. Literally, in the last class, we searched cats. You saw the cats. And Australia. So, what can we do? We can go on any virtual field trip we want. We can do anything. Yes? So that's just for Creative Commons. There's also music for Creative Commons. I was going to teach you how to make an iMovie. Maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. Maybe we'll all get out of here 20 minutes early, you know what I'm saying? But this is what we do with technology. We lean on it, and if it fails us, we're in trouble. So, I'll just talk about it. So imagine I have a slide with a butterfly head and a slide with a moth head. Butterflies and moths have two different kinds of antennae, okay? Here we go. I don't need it. Butterflies have antennae with little caps at the end. It's called capitate. You can see the little knobs at the end of their antennae. Moths, female moths, have straight antennae like this. You show a picture of a butterfly versus a moth, and you can see the difference. Male moths don't have straight antennae. They have fluffy big antler antennae because they gotta smell the females. You know what I'm saying? So you show this picture, and then the night before you had your iPhone and you flipped on your porch light, and you went outside for 15 minutes and let the light warm up and let all the bugs come to your porch light. And then you filmed for 3 minutes up at your porch light all the different animals and insects that come to your porch light. You pop that up on the screen after you've taught them the difference between butterflies and moths and female moths and male moths, and now you've got a math lesson. You get them up to the screen, and they're counting, and they're making sure they don't double count, and you do a ratio. How many butterflies to how many moths? How many female moths to how many female moths? That's a math lesson I want to be a part of. Yes? That's how we can use a simple clip with video where you didn't have to edit it. You're not Spielberg, all right? You didn't have to do anything. You literally pressed record, and then pressed record, and then brought it to your classroom. So that's a simple and effective way. That's a simple and effective way to use video in the classroom. All right? So let's talk for a second. I want to talk about your favorite teachers. We don't need any technology. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Think and visualize the favorite teacher, like your favorite teacher you have ever had. I see smiles on faces right now. You're about to cry. I don't know what you're doing.
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Well, you are about to cry. Okay, so here's the deal. Who here visualized a favorite teacher? I saw you smile. Will you tell us about your favorite teacher?
She was my kindergarten teacher.
Yeah?
And we always did music at the classroom.
Yeah?
And I always remember singing.
Singing, and you loved it. Did she use a lot of technology besides music? She used a lot of iPads, kindergarten? No. Okay. Anyone else? Favorite teacher? What about you? Who's your favorite teacher?
Mine?
Yeah.
My, I guess, world history teacher.
Okay. In high school?
Yes. And she was also my government economics teacher.
All right.
And she hardly used any technology. It was all just hands-on stuff.
So what was it about her?
Her personality and her demeanor in the classroom.
And how she spoke to you?
Yeah,
probably,
she was
too.
just very engaging in her vernacular and how she talked to us. So.
Right. Did she make you feel like a child?
No.
She made you feel like a person in the room with her. Guys, my favorite teacher is the man I'm having dinner with tonight. He's my graduate school professor. The man walked in to our graduate class with a spiral-bound notebook that I swear he'd been using for the last 30 years. It's like falling apart and like fine paper. And he sat sort of at the edge of the table and just spoke to us about his 40 years in entomology. He's my favorite teacher. He didn't touch a computer the entire time we talked. Don't worry about technology replacing you. It is your job to inspire. You didn't get into teaching to make crap PowerPoints and make it through the day. You got into teaching because something in you either was inspired by a teacher or you wanted to make a change in the way you were being taught. Does that make sense? So what changes did you want to make in the way that you were taught? We've had some bad teachers. Tell me about them. That's awesome. Yes?
I had an awful third grade teacher. Where I came from, the state I came from, we did not learn how to write cursive until the third grade. So then when I moved to third grade, that new state had learned it in second grade. So she would leave the room daily and go smoke or whatever in the lounge, and we had the alphabet in cursive above the thing, and we had to, I guess on Fridays, write definitions out of the dictionary to learn vocabulary. You know, that works well. And she was like, I was like, I don't know how to write cursive. She's like, there you go.
There it is.
That was the end of that. Just no passion, no engagement.
There you go.
No really respect, I guess, for learners in general.
And that word engagement is really what it is. Guys, you are the conduit between all of this fancy technology or whatever technology you decide to use. I don't care if you use it. I care if you're awesome. I care if you engage. I care if you show up and you have an intention for your teaching. If you're going to use technology, have it be intentional. I had some teachers in the last class come to me and their principal is really forcing some. She goes to technology conferences all the time, the principal, and then comes back and is like, oh, there's this app and I want you to do it. Oh, there's this thing, there's this thing, there's this thing, there's this thing. And they're feeling terribly overwhelmed. Pick one new technology a semester and become awesome at it. And then integrate something else. There is no way with your workload and with your lives and with your stress levels that you're going to be able to master every technology all at once. Pick one thing and be awesome at it. You already know PowerPoint. There are some tips and tricks for it to be different for you. And now you won't hate it because it can be the death of education, but you should use it for good and not for evil. Yes? Okay. So, what are we searching for on Flickr Creative Commons? Thank you. Love you. What are we searching for?
Bridges.
Bridges. Ooh, nice. Bridges. Oh. What could we do with this? You throw 4 bridge designs up on the screen. You break your students into 4 groups. You give them toothpicks. Let's build bridges. Right? All of a sudden we're inspired by what we're seeing, and then they have to use their skills and work together. What else can we do? What else can we search for?
Lighthouses.
Lighthouses. Lovely. Lovely. Ooh, I want to see the lighthouse mirror. So we've searched for lighthouses. I want to see the mirror in it. Do you know what I mean? The reflector thing. Ooh, yeah, that's not good.
Oh, here it is.
This. Okay? Now we can talk about light refraction. We can bring mirrors into the classroom and we can make our own lighthouses. And we can learn how light bends. There's, like, do you see what I'm saying? Anything you're interested in, if you're interested in it and you find it and you create it in the classroom, they're going to be interested in it because you're interested. And then they get to do the same thing. Those bug photos, how many of you work with iPads in your classrooms, like one-to-one? One-to-one? Okay. So in your school, in your classes, you go outside with your iPads and you take pictures of bugs. And then those students become experts on those species. Boom. That's it. That's how we use technology. It doesn't have to take over everything. It's just a tool. All right? Okay. So another couple of things. NASA home education page. OMG. There's so much amazing stuff on there. It's free. Take it. Also, music. I had a question last class about the music. This is Creative Commons music. It's basically the same thing as Flickr, but any music you would want to use. Why would we want to use music?
Make it more relevant for students.
make it more relevant to the students, make it a little bit more meaty. How many of you went someplace cool for spring break? Where'd you go?
Boston.
Boston. Boston. You went to Boston. Okay. What about you? You raised your hand, guy, dude.
Yeah, I went to the South Padre.
Awesome. Did you guys take pictures while you were there? Did you take any pictures? Okay. Here's the deal, guys. Everyone takes pictures now. So there's no excuse. You come back. You come back and you make a little iMovie project of your time in Boston or your time in
South Padre.
South Padre. Or like I'm going to Tanzania in November. So I would make a project about it. How many of you are Mac users? Okay. For the rest of you, it's the same thing. It's just Windows Movie Maker or all sorts of things. It's the same concept. I'm not really teaching you how. I'm showing you the difference between mediocre content and content that is just slightly elevated to help you. So let's make a little project, all right? So we're gonna go to new project. Why would we want to use a video in class?
It's cheaper than going on a field trip.
Cheaper than going on a field trip, yes it is. So a virtual field trip we could do. Why else would we want to use video in class?
It appeals to different learners. Like you
Absolutely.
can incorporate different, you know, like you said, like audio or visual or
Right, absolutely. What else?
It's more engaging, especially if it includes their picture.
Okay,
Like
so,
if you're gonna make a person
right.
to show your experience somewhere.
And we can heighten that just a little bit. Absolutely. We can also make our own storybooks based on your pictures, with your words and with titling. And then if you have iPads in the classroom or laptops or whatever, you break into groups. You've got a couple of kids over here that needed to catch up on something. You've got a couple kids over here that are reading the storybook that is digital, and you've just duplicated yourself in the classroom by several times if you want, so that then you can facilitate all the groups, okay? So here we go. I always make a new project. I'm gonna call this My Awesome Trip. And, oh, do not get sucked in. Look at all, oh, it could look like a scrapbook or don't do it. It's crap. This is what I'm talking about. The bells and the whistles that we get overwhelmed with. It's like we're creating an attention problem sometimes. Does that make sense? It's like there's music and there's sound and things are flying and moving and then you see that like death stare, that like glazed, where there might be drool. You want captivated. You don't want catatonic. Okay, so I pick none, and then I always pick this automatically add cross dissolve because it's going to make my life easier. And I want technology to work for me, not the other way around. So I'm going to create this, My Awesome Trip. Okay, so in this area, this is basically where we're going to drag and drop some photos, and we're going to put some music under it, and maybe our word, blah, 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 and this is where our project is created, in that space up there. You can use video if you want to and import it. So I don't even know what this is. Oh, so I went on a trip recently across the country to film America's Awesome Arthropods. It's called the Sofa Safari. We dragged a vintage green velvet couch across the country, and Honda gave us a car to do it. And we plopped this couch into different ecosystems, and we're inspiring kids to get off the couch and explore America's backyard wilderness. Thank you very much. And so here's a little video that we had of us driving a car. Awesome! And we're singing the State Line song. So I could drag that up if I want, a little clip. Great. My movie's not going to make any sense. You're going to love it. Okay? And then over here, in this area, this is what I love about the iPhoto, iMovie sort of integration, is that it's all integrated. And if you are organized, it's all there ready for you. You get home from your trip, you load your photos into iPhoto, you make a little iPhoto folder. Boom. I made one for TLAC, but I've got all of these. Yeah? Here we go. So now I'm going to pick some photos. I'm going to pick this one, and this one. Ooh, and that little girl, and that's pretty cool. Holding baby, and I'm teaching, inspiring people, and this cool spider, and great. That's what I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna drag it up here. There we go. And it provides these cross dissolves. What is a cross dissolve? Transition. Okay? Now, again. Evil and good. Cross dissolve? Well, that's not bad. That's chill. Cross blur? Cross zoom? Ooh, careful with that one. What does this one do? Ooh. You see it? Can you see it? It's a nightmare. It's horrible. Ooh. Ooh. Maybe if you're doing books, come on. No. Fade to white? Okay. Fade to black? Okay. Never. Never. This one. Keep it clean, keep it simple, keep it elegant. It's not about the movement, it's about the content. Make the content great and clear, all right? Because once you start doing these, everyone gets lulled into thinking that they're Spielberg, and they're like, oh, is that going to drop that? And it's like, oh, you prepare. Yes?
I think I blacked out a few seconds ago. Where is your...
Right. Okay,
Where
so
are
we
you?
were just on photos.
Okay.
We're just on photos. This is music.
Okay.
This is photos. This is T for titles. This is effects, like transitions. And then this is a globe function, which I'll show you in just a second. Yeah?
But you're on iMovie, right?
I'm on iMovie.
Thank you.
But it grabs. Okay, watch me. I'm iMovie. Okay? I make movies. But in order to make movies, I need music. And I'm going to grab it from iTunes. I make photo stuff. I'm going to grab it from iPhoto. Okay? So iMovie will harvest things from your other programs. So if you're organized in your other programs, it makes it super easy to just bring it right in. Yeah? So that's what I love about this program, is that you can sit down and in literally 15 minutes, you've got an awesome piece of content. Okay, so, good. How are we liking this so far? You're loving it? I have to take that out. It's a little too big. I'll take that. Oh, okay. Ooh, ooh, do you notice what it's doing? Do you see that? What do you see? What do you see? Zooming in and zooming out. Do we know what this is called? What? Ken Burns.
Ken Burns.
The Ken Burns effect. Who knows who Ken Burns is? He's that, vaguely, right? He's that dude who makes those super long, boring documentaries about like the Civil War, the ones that your dad watches. You know what I mean? The Civil War, the history of baseball, history of warships. Basically, he makes these historical documentaries from before the time of video, and so he uses a lot of archival photographs. But to make them more engaging and interesting, he does what's called the Ken Burns effect, which is basically just like a slow zoom on a family that died in the Civil War, and a slow zoom on a warship that sunk in a battle. Yes? And it makes it super sad and super interesting, and you've all seen it. So iMovie does this automatically. What you don't want is a zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, because you're gonna get seasick, okay? So what you do is you go in and you can change it. Click on the little gearbox, go down to Ken Burns. There are tons of tutorials. I'm not really here to show you exactly how to do this. I just want to show you the effect that this can have, okay? Awesome. So now we've got photos. Could we make our movie right now and just export it and be like, boom, done. I'm just gonna talk over it. Could we do that? We could. Do we want to? What do we want to add? Music. For me, music is last, and I'll show you why. What do we want to add? Where are we? Is there any context for these photos? What do we need? A title. A title might be nice. We don't know where we are. We have no concept. I'm going to go over to titles. I'm going to pick the super simple ones. That's my style. Super simple. I'm going to call this Kenya, Land of Dreams. Whatever. Call whatever you want. Okay? Kenya, Land of Dreams. Great. Awesome. And I'm going to make one at the end so that we know it's the end. Great. And the end. Perfect. You literally drag and drop. Drag and drop function. Okay, so that's good. That's good. What's this? What is that? What animal is that? It's 20 feet long. Manta ray. This is a manta ray, you guys. So if we want to say that this is a manta ray, maybe we want to put this on an iPad where kids are sitting alone in a group and we're helping them to read a sentence. We can do a title with this. See this? I dragged it right from here. Boom. Click it. This is a manta ray. Okay? Done. And it's there for us. Okay? Now, do we need my voice in this? Maybe a voiceover, maybe telling the students where we went, right? Yes? Okay. Where did we go? Do we know where this is? If I gave you a map of Africa, could you point to Kenya? You're like, could a second grader point to Kenya? Maybe not. So we're going to do the map function. I love this, okay? I'm going to pick this. I'm going to drag it up here. It makes us choose a starting location. I'm going to choose College Station. Oh look, Easterwood Field. Great. But I'm going to change the name of it to Agilent. You'll love that. Then I'm going to choose the end location. And I'm going to put Nairobi. And I'm going to pick that, but I'm going to change it to Kenya because we don't want to get super serious. All right? Boom. There we go. So now, Kenya Land of Dreams, we fly from Agilent. Oh, that's a fast flight. Fast flight. Flip adjustments. I'm going to double that. 6 seconds. It's about finesse. It's about aesthetic. Ooh, ah. Yes? We're just giving them a little bit of placement. It's not super fancy. Okay, there we go. I want to add my voice to this. We need to add our voice. Okay. I'm going to click on this microphone. I'm going to come up here. And I'm going to make it start right here. Ooh, okay. Ooh. Over the summer, I traveled to Africa, to a country called Kenya. It was beautiful, and we saw amazing animals called manta rays. Whatever, whatever you want to say, okay? Script it out if you want, make it awesome. That wasn't awesome. If you think it's not awesome, highlight it and do it better next time, okay? All right, so there we go. Now I think we're ready for music. Music, and audio in general, can make or break whatever you are doing in the classroom. For example, I'm going to choose the first one that I find, whatever. Here we go.
Over the summer, I traveled to Africa, to a country called Kenya. It was beautiful, and we saw amazing animals called manta rays.
Okay, we added music. Did it support? Did it enhance? If you add something and it takes something away, take what you added away. Okay? So I'm going to take that away, and we're going to kill it. And you're probably thinking at this point, this isn't awesome. Like, probably nothing's going to save this, right? This is not an awesome video I just made at all. It's not good. Watch this.
Over the summer, I traveled to Africa, to a country called Kenya. It was beautiful, and we saw amazing animals called manta rays.
Got a little choked up. I bet you feel it. You feel a little like. little bit of intention with what you create. Create one thing that's awesome and use it a million times, right? Because hopefully you're going to be a teacher for a while. Create one thing that's awesome and use it again and again and again. Don't spend your time making lots of things that are mediocre. The simple fact of adding the right kind of music, the right kind of image, this little thing, hello, is she not beautiful? You have images, and when you add that slow Ken Burns and some music that really helps to support, and it doesn't have to be super sad, like, oh, it's super sad, but it can be also fun and lively and engaging. It all depends. Pick what's right, and it's going to elevate it, and it's going to help you use technology in a way that bolsters you as a teacher and you as a storyteller. Because basically, that's what teaching is. We're telling a story about lifelong learning. We're asking them to come with us on a journey for lifelong learning, and you can do that. Now, are we ready to show this in a class? What do we have to do to it? Can we just play this now? Will this just play somewhere? I have to make it into a movie. Right now, it's still just a project, but in order to make it into a self-contained file that I can put on a USB or put on a Vimeo or put on a YouTube or whatever, I have to do one last step, and that's share it and export it. And it's gonna, yeah, I'll put it on my desktop, great. So while that's exporting and making us a movie, I just wanted to sort of wrap up a little in the last 5 minutes. Has this been helpful at all? Is this making sense to you? Okay. I'm not meaning to diss technology. I'm not meaning to diss BYOD or any of these things. I'm just talking about a philosophy where we use technology to support us instead of replace us. Or we use technology in a way that enhances sort of our magic as a teacher instead of A, detracting, B, distracting, and C, kind of becoming a crutch. Yeah? Because when the lights go out, who are we in a classroom? When the projector conks, can you keep people's attention? Can you teach the subject? Can you make it work? You need a plan B when you're dealing with technology, always. You need a plan B when you're dealing with you. Some days you're just not going to have a good day. How many of you are pre-service? Okay. So, do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns about technology that we can address right now? Anybody?
I feel like a lot of things that we learn are cool and great, but it seems like, because like I'd like to teach 7th grade math, which is elementary, but like how do you integrate all these things into a math classroom? Because I feel like a lot of things are harder.
Yes, math is tricky. Okay, bugs. Let me just, because it's my thing, I'll give you an example. So I have a tank full of millipedes. Millipedes are these long animals with lots of legs, right? And so the first 7 segments on millipedes have 1 pair of legs. But on the 7th pair on a female, they have 2 pairs. And then every segment beyond that, they have 2 pairs of legs. But they add a segment every time they molt. So if you've got 4 millipedes in a tank, you've got 2 males and 2 females, and one's older than the other, you've got a math problem. And so you can use images to still them. Like, let's take a picture of this millipede because we can't count it when it's moving. Let's take a picture. Now we've got a word problem. All right? Anyone else have any ideas about math and videos? There are so many great resources for videos and math problems on the web. But do you want to play videos constantly in your class? Questions about that?
Well, I was just going to say, I wouldn't be smart enough to solve this problem, but the bridges, for example. I mean, if you were at higher level maths and stuff like that they could take that, you could
geometry
stuff with shapes and tensions in an engineering class and different
Sometimes it's not really about using the technology to teach it. It's maybe using the technology to provide an intro, to provide a visual kind of grounding, especially in math. You need a little bit of grounding sometimes. When I was in math and when I had to learn math, I needed something that connected it to the real world. So maybe what you do to integrate that technology or visuals, because that's what I'm talking about, is is basing it in a real world picture. How does math help us every day to create buildings, structures, bridges, things like that? I know that there were other people here using the iPads to show how to work a problem. So you film yourself working one problem of each kind of problem, and then that goes up on the internet. So when the students are at home doing their homework, they're like, oh God, it's totally different about that boy I like. They can go on and see you work one kind of problem by just filming overhead. That's a really easy and elegant solution to some of those problems. It might not always be a beautiful video. It might just be using what works best in the classroom. That's what technology is, I think, in the classroom. What works best. Any other questions? Is there anything that I can add to this that would be more helpful? I would love feedback. Anything?
I'll be monopolized. I'm a pre-service help
You're
training
not
teacher. So
go for it.
one thing I was going to say that to me, your presentation absolutely hits home, and that is when working with special needs students, all this pop and bubbles and 3Ds and all that stuff is not going to help most of them. The less, the better. Some, yes.
Yes.
You know, if they can't communicate, able to draw on an iPad or whatever,
Sure.
absolutely. But so much,
Less is
I mean,
more.
even a lot of stuff all over the walls is too much for them. So if you are in a district that is big in inclusion, for better or for worse, you're going to have to be mindful of that.
Absolutely.
So your presentation to me speaks to that.
Thank
Great.
you. I appreciate that. Yes.
I've been teaching for about 10 years. One of the biggest things for me starting out is you work in isolation. As you said, it gets to 11 o'clock and you go, I've got to do this tomorrow. So I'll start myself now from scratch doing the PowerPoint, as you said. And as you go through a couple of years teaching, you realise, why am I working so hard for the same salary? And then you start to collaborate with other people.
Yeah.
And Facebook's a great way to do it, LinkedIn's a great way to do it. So if you just say, has anybody got a presentation on this, or anybody got stuff on this, people will send you things. And if you send that back to them,
Yeah.
over a career, imagine how many points of media you have.
How many amazing resources that you can sort of collate and curate. Absolutely. And there is this idea that pre-service teachers, like you guys, are super tech savvy about everything. Like you just like open your computer and you're like, bam, made a movie, done it, I'm 21, oh, what? You guys know how to use Facebook and Twitter, you know how to do Word documents, you're pretty crap at PowerPoint, but you're getting better, right? I mean, this is where you are. And this is the problem with in-service teachers think that pre-service teachers are coming in and they're like, oh, I'm a tech goddess, please, no, let me show you. And if I'm wrong about that, let me know. I was the digital media coordinator here for 3 years teaching all the pre-service teachers, so I kind of know. But I saw you make a face.
Well, we had to do one of these videos earlier this year.
This year in Rackers class.
Not Griffin.
Okay, oh, awesome, yes, Lori Griffin, I love her.
And I love doing it. Like,
Yes.
playing around with it.
And once you play around it, if it's your thing, it becomes a tool you go back to over and over and over again. Find the tool that you go back to over and over and over again. I don't care what it is. If it's an app, it doesn't matter. If you like it, you'll be more willing to use it and learn it. Yes? Thank you so much, you guys.